Hello guys, this story about What If Naruto Was the Kazekage, Part 2.
2 years had passed in Suna, and by that time several things had changed. The Namikaze compound had just been finished about a month ago, and he wasn't alone. Over his 2 years in Suna, his relationship with Temari had blossomed and they had only gotten closer. They had been dating now for 2 years and design most of the compound anyway, and they felt the next logical step was to move in together. They were both truly in love, but beyond that, Gaara had Beko a year ago, and Naruto had been happy teach and training. When he started teaching, it was the same day the new students arrived, and Suna's academy being years of age, Naruto got to teach one entire class up until graduation, and today they had just completed their genin exams, and needless to say his entire class colors and most if not all were far beyond genin level already. Naruto took to teaching like a fish to water. His bubbly happy personality and myriad of life exp lot to pull from, and though he was quite young, he used that to his advantage. Being 17 at the time, he wasn't too far removed from being an academy student. He entirely new approach to teaching, breaking it up in marking periods but devoting the entire period to one thing and merely reviewing it quickly every so often. Being said, the first 6 months were simply math, science, and history of all the hidden villages. The next 3 were purely review, chakra theory, physical conditioning was all they did for the entirety of year 1. Year 2 was different entirely, so for the first 3 months, instead of cookie-cutter academy styles, he searched his Libra library in the village and found styles that fit his students' personalities. He'd use his clones to learn the styles himself before having a clone teach each child. They reviewed the year before and kept conditioning and working with Shuriken and Kunao. The next 3 months they continued to perfect what they already knew and work on chakra control exclusively in the afternoon, with Kunao balancing and rock balancing exercises, and eventually finishing with wall walking as trees Suna and water walking in a lake that was made by the few Jounin that knew Suten Jutsu, converting their very chakra into water for the Jutsu. It was totally helped, and now Naruto owed them a huge favor. Naruto would even combine the control exercises. The next 6 months were where the fun began. They work a jutsu as well as 5 or 6 other non-elemental techniques Naruto knew, such as the transparent escape jutsu and others good for spying, most of which he recently going through his parents' notes and Uzu library for new things to teach the kids. Finally he finished the year by finding their affinities and helping the one manipulation, and for those that finished quickly he'd give them each one jutsu to work on, and he would help those who were interested in weapons to Lee or use of a battle fan after hours at the academy. Needless to say they all passed with flying colors, this being Naruto's first and only class through the academy. Them with a good speech. Okay class, after today your genin. I remember when I graduated the academy and my instructor told us about the will of fire, abstract concept from Konoha, one that I feel has been forgotten by a large group of the village. You see, the will of fire boiled down to teamwork and protecting your village, your family, your friends, and all those precious to you. The reason the leaf has always been feared is their impeccable teamwork and camaraderie. Proof that it's falling into disarray. They shunned me for completing my mission and kicked me out because they valued some shinobi over others. I'm here to what the past Hokages would have wanted, and I'm here now to bring the true will of fire to Suna, to make our village the greatest to ever walk the earth. And you students, you're my legacy, and I hope the rebirth of the true will of fire. A man I respect very much once told me shinobi who break the rules are scum, but though their comrades are worse than scum. So when you leave here today and get put into your teams, know that I am proud of you, and know that I expect you all to around that Suna protects our own. Let's show the world the true will of fire, to never forget our comrades and to love one another and stand together to protect greatest village of them all, Sunagaku no Sato. With that speech assigned the teams, him and Gaara discussed that morning, knowing they'd all pass and left teaching career feeling blessed to have taught such amazing kids and knowing they'd make him proud. After exiting the building he made his way towards the His initiation test, which he knew for sure he'd pass as he had grown quite a bit in the last 2 years, he had revealed his Sharingan and how he got it to his new Genjutsu with it, and working to further refine his sub-elements and explaining to the Sand siblings that Kekkei Genkai were more affinities than anything mean. Stronger when using the techniques than you, but anyone could recreate it. After that he mastered his lava release and scorch release, while Temari decided to release herself and did well with Naruto helping her. Gaara by far came the farthest in being able to recreate magnet release and use both iron sand and gold D. Predecessors levels, but definitely powerfully, and he was taught Fuinjutsu by Naruto and now kept the iron sand and gold dust in seals on his arms. Naruto fur fighting styles and maxed out the resistance seals, as well as began copying his fellow shinobi's jutsu to practice it, now having well over 250 techniques and CL. Say this ANBU test was a mere formality at this point. He had also reached 7 tails of Kurama's chakra with full control and learned quite a few other tricks. Today he had a date with Temari for lunch, and he was taking his entire class and their families to dinner to celebrate at the new and improved Ichirakus, which was now a full-blown restaurant. Then he was going to drop Temari at home and stop by a jeweler to have a ring made to propose in the coming months. Suna ANBU headquarters 3 hours later. The ANBU initiation test in Suna is 3 parts. Part 1 Infiltration. The precious record time was 3 hours. Naruto finished it in 1. He had to travel 25 miles into the Des outpost that was used during the Warring States era that Suna had fixed up for the ANBU exam. It consisted of a 3-story main compound with a basement level square feet with 3 layers of walls surround the complex with guard outposts. For the test, the prospective ANBU had to sneak past all 3 walls without being compound and eliminate the target. Using the transparent escape jutsu, he snuck up to the guards at Outpost 1 and locked eyes with them, and they didn't the Sharingan and put them in a genjutsu and they fell asleep. Coming up to the second outpost went much the same, however this one had guards on the WA. To scale it and knock out the guard with a chop to the neck first before getting the main guards at the gate. The last outpost went much like the last until the CO sights 4 guards on the roof at all 4 corners, 2 at front door, 2 at back. He knows the best course of action is go top down, but how? He goes around the side still and climbs up the wall. He waits for guards to pass in their rotation and slowly places a seal on each of their feet as they walk by and whispers Uzumaki seal. Paralysis seal Fon. All 4 guards freeze and start to fall when they're caught by sealless shadow clones Naruto made. After this the clones go invisible as to the back, who take out the guard with poison senbon. The real Naruto going in through the upstairs window. He clears the entire place and takes out the targ. Second test is survival. An amba called Falcon summons a large bird that takes the prospect farther into the desert and drops them, at which point they have to. That took 2 hours and a lot of help from Kurama to stay upright with all the heat and no water since morning, which was part of the test, but now 3 hours late. Dehydrated and in pain now is the real test. Naruto vs the 3 ANBU captains. The test is designed as a loss for the prospect. They want to see how you do in the insurmountable odds where you are faced with sure death. What will you do? Little do they know Naruto doesn't plan on giving up or losing as Elephant, Falcon, Naruto and wait for the start. Naruto seems oddly calm and is simply breathing in and out, calming breaths, focusing breaths, ready to strike. Begin. The 3 ANBU attacked at once, but before they could get there the room was filled with smoke from a smoke bomb. The smoke cleared and the blonde they could react. He was on them in a hurry from behind, throwing a kunao at the back of Dragon's head. Instincts kicked in and Dragon turned to the left and began a furious taijutsu match, which the other 2 ANBU joined in on. Even 3-on-1. Naruto kept up, but getting bored after 5 minutes. Look guys, I'm tired, let Naruto flashed behind the elephant masked ANBU, pulled out his tri-pronged kunao laced with wind chakra and cut his tendons on the back of his legs, and he see ground. The other two fighters recovered and rejoined the fight. Naruto dodged a kick from Dragon and created a raise Nan in an instant and shoved it into drive. Ducking under the kick, it shattered and Dragon was out. Falcon was fast and he was keeping up, or so he thought, until Naruto jumped back, flashed through HA. Release, Grand Fireball Jutsu. Falcon blocked it with an earth wall, but with the distraction Naruto flashed through more seals. Lava Release, Lava Rain H. Ball of molten rock in the air that exploded and rained down on the battlefield. Falcon created a dome of wind to protect himself, but then Naruto shot out from him with an uppercut and the fight was over. Well, Namikaze, I think it's safe to say welcome to Anbu Kitsune. With that he handed Naruto a Kitsune Anbu Ma. Celebrate. Naruto took Temari for barbecue to celebrate the win. The two ate and talked for a while. So Mari-chan, Gaara says you have a mission tomorrow. When will you be going to Mizu no Kuni to help finish the civil war and hopefully start an alliance? Even with you and Gaara, we are still one of the weakest of the great nations. We figure if we help the bloodline users we can help them win and get allies in the process. That said, it'll probably take 3 to 6 months, maybe more, she said sadly. We better enjoy ourselves today then, Naruto countered in a suggestive tone. Nah, mister, you have students to take out to dinner and some muster errand. The time you get back I'll be asleep and I have to leave first thing in the morning. However, if you're good while I'm away and the house and village is still standin', you can have it all you want, she said to the pouty blonde. Mari-chan, that's no fun. We could always go to the bathroom and do it right here right now. Naruto, we can't, we have things to do, she said with a little anger in her voice at him not taking the hint. Fine Temari, let's head home and get ready for the pa. 2 hours after that, dinner time at Ichiraku's ramen bar. We see the entire dining room packed with students and their families and a certain blonde instructor W. of ramen in front of him. You know, Namikaze-san, it's a shame you won't consider teaching full-time. Renji's brother starts next year and after the success you love to get the same kind of help for his brother, one of the parents said. Don't worry Mibaki-san, if your other son ever needs help and I am free, I'd be mo. I think I'm ready to move on to Anbu and hopefully Jounin in a few years and eventually be a Jounin sensei. The proud father nodded his head and they contin. Cheers to the best class of graduating genin the world has ever seen. I wish you guys and gals all the best of luck. Remember, trust each other, trust your sense each other and you'll come out on top. At that statement they all split up for the night. And Naruto dropped Temari at home, kissed her, though it was still kind-o the store, and ordered the ring. It was really special to him as he designed it. The metal was white gold with 2 traditional Japanese dragons wrapping around meeting at the stone that was in their mouth. Inside the stone was a laser etching of his Hiraishin seal, so he could always be there whenever she needed it. And ring was for my Marihime, I'm yours forever and always. He was sad it would take 3 months to complete, as she in all likelihood wouldn't be back by then. Loved it. Naruto's first 6 months in Anbu went by like a flash. He was flying through the ranks and already at captain by month 4. He had learned more Kitsune summon. He had mastered up to 9 tails of chakra and bonded with Kurama even more, to the point they truly considered each other friends, and they were preparing to Temple, the home of the Kitsune summons, to remove the seal and learn to fully cooperate like the Hakusabijin hierarchy and to learn from the elder Kitsune to us. Had completed 25 S-class missions and 50 A-class in only 6 months with an impeccable record, all successful missions, no failures and no loss of life. He was Eve of Iwa Kumo and even Konoha. Name, unknown. Rank, ANBU. Age, 16 to 19, assumed based on what little you can see of his looks. True age unknown. Skill level, S rank. Title, Suna's Scorched Earth, Kitsune Flash, Suna's Wind God, Suna's Black Death, due to his pitch black Kitsune mask and ANBU uniform being before you die. Description: 6'5", blonde hair, easily 275 pounds, standard ANBU gear with a black onyx Kitsune mask, has seals and tattoos on both arms and seams. Sharingan, though we don't know how and have never seen a blonde Uchiha. Skills: Taijutsu, Kenjutsu, Bajutsu, and use of Battle Fan and Shuriken and Kunao. Easily Kage level Fuinjutsu master has replicated the Hiraishin Hokage as well as others. Ninjutsu and Chakra reserves. Kage level also seems to be a Jinhyuriki, as he can use the Chakra shroud, as to which can use lava and scorch release and can summon foxes. It's possible he is the Kyuubi Jinhyuriki based on that information, but we are unsure. Bounty: was 50 million Ryo dead or alive, Kumo 25 million Ryo dead or alive, Konoha 150 million Ryo alive only. Orders: flee on sight unless you're S-class as well or have an S-class in your group. Thanks to the work of Naruto and Gaara, Suna was starting to be seen as a world power once again. Naruto had learned and grown much over the last several. Was still bothering him. He had gotten Temari's ring 3 months ago and was waiting for her to return to propose, but was it the right time when she had left? For pushing the issue with being intimate, an issue he was truly sorry about. They had had sex several times before she left and in the years prior, but but he realized she was probably nervous about the mission and being away for a while, or something else must have been bothering her, and he was He felt bad, but he couldn't tell her. It was eating away at him each day, wondering if she was still his Mari-chan or Mari-hime, as he took to thinking of her in th. Or if the time apart as well as the anger from before she left caused a rift. He had no idea. He spent countless days over the past months pondering that very th. We find him strolling through town on what was supposed to be his day off, thinking of Temari yet again until his ANBU tattoo started to burn. He rushed to get bad feeling. He ran up the wall, came in through the window as he wasn't allowed to flash into the Kazekage's office. Gaara, what's wrong? Is Temari okay? Gaara. Naruto, with a blank expression, knows she's been taken by the current Mizukage Yagura. There was a battle and she was with the rebels. They lost and bad, but he and took her. That was 3 days ago. The rebels sent us word of what happened after the retreat. Gaara, I don't care if you want me to or not. I'm leaving now. End this war and end Yagura myself, and I'm going to bring Temari home, stated Naruto in a very final manner. Now Gaara may have been Kazekage, but it came to a fight between him and Naruto. He would lose, and so would likely every Kage in the elemental nations, so if he said he was going, there was no stop. Nodded. This could created an incident with you stepping on their toes, but I understand. She's my sister, and while I haven't always been the greatest brother, I bring her home. Oh, and for the record, I was going to send you anyway. You didn't have to ask. Outskirts of Water Country, 5 miles from Rebel Base. Naruto was thinking on if he would see Haku and Zabuza. He knew how much Kiri meant to them and how Zabuza had tried to end Yagura before, but now Naruto would die trying. Now most people who heard about what had happened in the Land of Waves years ago would ask, why would he see them there? Concede. Put it simply, he helped them both fake their deaths. When he had met Haku that night in the forest, he learned Yagura sent hunter nins constantly after them and were always running for their lives. They wanted it to stop and they wanted Yagura gone. In that moment the worked up a plan. Zabuza created a heavily clone of himself for the fight that dispelled later that day after they had thought he died and buried him. Same with Haku. That's why Naruto pushed to bury the Battle of the Bridge was going down. A cloaked Zabuza and Haku escaped the area and went back to Kiri to join the rebels. Naruto hadn't heard from them since they were doing these days, as he still saw them as friends, and he wanted a rematch, having him and his teammates and sensei's collective asses whip. Exactly, great for one's self-esteem. That thought died in his throat as he ran towards the rebel camp clad in his ANBU attire, and coincidentally enough the TW wondered about were the ones to stop him. Stop. I know who you are, and I know you're here to save Temari. Gaara sent us a letter via some funky summonin. Seal Master made. Follow me and I'll show you to our leader, then we have some things to discuss and plans to make to end this. 25 minutes later he is sitting in front of the second most beautiful woman he has ever seen, with more curves than a country road and the reddest hair he has. A form-fitting blue dress and sporting the most alluring eyes he has ever seen. So Kitsune-san, the Kazekage sent word ahead of your arrival. I know of your b. Still, why only send one man against an army of 10,000 and a Kage/Jinhuriki to rescue his sister? It seems a little underwhelming, asked the redhead. Send everyone but Zabuza and Haku out. I can explain not only why it isn't underwhelming but how it is indeed overwhelming for them, and this one man is go and bring his girlfriend home to her. Brother May stared at the masked Anbu, confused but relented, and sent her guards out, and Naruto removed his mask and from Zabuza and Haku, you're the brat from the land of waves, Nara something or other, you're an Uzumaki, right? What happened to all the orange and why? Thought you were with Konoha? Asked Zabuza as Naruto went to reply. Haku interrupted Naruto. Zabuza, his name is Naruto and we wouldn't have escaped. Would be nice if you remembered his name, stated Haku with attitude. It's great to see you, Naruto. I missed you and I'm glad to get to fight with you this time. Blonde, well, okay guys, I'll explain. First off, you remember my teammate Sasuke? He went rogue and joined Orochimaru after the Chunin exams, and my team stop him. We had orders to bring him back dead or alive. We fought. He jammed a Chidori through my lung. At this point he pulled his shirt aside to show the SC to kill me. I retaliated with a raise nan and killed him, so they exiled me for killing their pet Uchiha. The council has always hated me anyway for being the Q. We're looking for an excuse. Naruto took a big breath to let those bombshells sink in. It's also Namikaze now, not Uzumaki. Turns out not being a shinobi of the L's class secret about my parents doesn't apply to me. So Tsunade gave me all their stuff. My father was Minato Namikaze, the Yellow Flash, and my mom Kushina Death. At that statement they were all bug-eyed, and as to why Tsunade beat Gaara during the invasion and saved him from himself and the Shikaku, he's the and he was driving him insane. After I helped him we became friends and now brothers. I told him what happened and asked him to join the village. He pulled st. I am Naruto, finished and waiting for more questions. How do you plan to end this war on your own? Asked a curious May. Simple, you guys draw out his full himself and let me handle it. He pulled out a Hirei Shinku. Now I believe my dad showed how deadly this can be to an army, and I'm even better than him that I sense the emotions of others, so I can only kill those that are attacking by choice and merely knock out those that have been forced. At that May nodded. It's so about Yagura. I beat him and make him wish he was never born for what he did to Marihime. Simple as that. Gaara may be Kazekage, but even he openly ADM. He personally thinks I'm better than 4 of the 5 Kages. The only one that might stand a chance is the Raikage, thanks to his speed matching mine. The hesitant has been going on way too long, and this is our best shot to end it. We go tomorrow. Our forces will attack the main city with all of our forces, then retreat outside, wait for the ambush. Naruto nodded and walked away to go get his emotions in check for tomorrow. Outside the city ambush site, 7 p.m. the next day. Naruto stood atop the tallest cliff looking over the ambush site. Next to him were Zabuza and Haku. She insisted they be there to watch his back in case he gets dragged Zabuza along for the ride. Once she got over her subservient attitude courtesy of Naruto all those years ago in May when they joined the rebels, she Zabuza around and he let it happen to any that didn't know better. They truly seemed like father and daughter, and it was comical. So brat, can you actually have the power? If the bingo book is to be believed, we know you do, but can you kill this many people? When we met in Wave you did everything you could to AV lot. Since then Zabuza, they don't call me the Black Death for nothing. Zabuza nodded and looked out over the valley, seeing the retreat in full effect and the man himself following behind. When the rebels reached the retreat point safely behind the tree line at the cliff bottom, Naruto unsealed his fan, which had SE. He channeled wind chakra into it and the winds started picking up around them. It's time, directing some of the chakra surging through the fan towards the SE. Mighty swing, Namikaze style. Rain of death, he said with a note of finality as the wind-enhanced Hirei Shinkunao struck the ground. Chaos ensued and they as an army of thousands was decimated by one man in a yellow flash that seemed to somehow be everywhere at once. It was both amazing and terrifying. Only 1 minute had passed and the army was cut in half. 2 minutes and they were all down. Silence permeated the valley. Yagura. Give me Temari and I'll le. Naruto, oh you mean the sand whore I broke her in last night, she's fairly sore, my men had to go to so she's back at home resting, I'll see her later, taunted Th. Finished his sentence. The largest wave of killing intent and chakra most had ever felt washed over the entirety of the elemental nation's chakra restrictions. Resistance seals. Kai, you're going to regret ever saying that, Naruto says in a very demonic sounding voice with a red opaque shroud of chakra sorrow. Vanished on pure speed alone and buried a fist deep into the Mizukage's stomach quicker than anyone could see, sending him flying into the walls of the village. A mile away Naruto flashed through hand seals. Scorch release, Great Fire Armageddon, shouted Naruto as he released a wall of superheated fire easily. They fields. The Mizukage responded with water release. Great water shockwave, a huge wall of water met the fire but it didn't help as the fire vaporized it all. Why? Should have hurt Temari, I won't just kill you, I'll make you pay. Summoning jutsu, Fox Den. After he bit his thumb went through the seal's 9 large fox. Gamaken of the toads appeared. Naruto-sama, why have you summoned us? Sorry Kitsune-san, we can get better acquainted after we squash tea. He hurt my mate and we will make him pay. The 9 Kitsune turned to their leader and the boss summon of the foxes, Kurioma, who nodded, and the 9 fox. Same time forcing Yagura to go full Baijuyu mode. The fight lasted another 20 minutes at a stalemate before the foxes dispelled and Naruto was exhausted. He chakra on that summoning and was running out of ideas. Kurama, I need 8 tails of chakra, we are finishing this with that, said Naruto. Kurama agreed and an 8-tailed cloak formed and Naruto reached out his hand and formed a raised nan and started adding fire chakra to it, then FO of wind chakra, compressing it as much as possible until blades started to form and screeching was heard throughout the valley. Scorch release, Raisin Shurik. The jutsu, he threw it and it crashed into the Baijuyu and expanded. The wind chakra fueled the fire, creating a 50-foot wide 100-foot tall dome with a firestorm on T. Dome vanished. Yagura was on the ground, no longer in Baijuyu form. A light burst from his chest as the Sanbai was released to reform later and Naruto passed out. Hospital Kiri. 3 days later. Naruto had been in the hospital for 3 days now. His chakra was back to normal and he was sleeping soundly, that is until he started thrashing, having a nightmare. Yagura said he did to Temari. Mariheim. Nu, I love you, don't go, I'm sorry I couldn't protect you, he sobbed in his sleep, and then she left in his dream of sea. No, May found her shortly after the battle and saved her, and she's been at his side ever since. He snapped awake sweating. Mariheim, where what? He then hair in his lap sleeping and smiled, shaking her. Hey Heim, wake up, I missed you. After she got up they talked for hours and he learned that what Yagura said in tried of course, but she fought them off and eventually they gave up and resorted to starving her, hoping to loosen her up or at least make it easier the next. She held out. She was traumatized of course, who wouldn't be, but she survived and got to see her Naruto again. They talked for hours, apologized to each other other's arms till they fell asleep again. The next morning a certain Furball woke him from his sleep. Sorry kid, but we need to go finish your training. After the battle we will go there for the next 8 months and we will train in the ways of the Kitsune Sage and working on us working together in. After the seal is removed, I know you just got her back, but she will wait for you, she loves you kid. Naruto nodded sadly, waiting for her to get up to. He had one more day with the love of his life before going away to finish his training. The day had been long and filled with tears. Naruto had finally proposed and he carried on him at all times and sent one of his messenger foxes with her with information for Gaara on his whereabouts and with instructions to call should Akatsuki had been too quiet for too long and they both felt like a storm was coming. With that he said goodbye to his new fiancée and was reversed summoned to Begin the training that would change everything. Naruto-sama the Kazekage was beaten by the Akatsuki and captured there, likely beginning the extract. He will be dead in 48 hours once it's complete, Yuha, said a frantic messenger Kitsune. The figure the small two-tailed Kitsune was speaking to was tall, lithe, with blonde hair and a glowing orange aura around him. Seemed to be floating in the breeze, and the spikes seems to group into two triangle protrusions from the top of his head that looked like fox ears. His blue eyes middle and were surrounded by white diamond-shaped outlines. The end of the diamond shape dropped down the side of his cheeks like teardrops connecting marks on the way down, which also turned white. The lines continued down his face, meeting at a point in the center of his chin. This figure was Naruto Namikaze. Ago was the first human Kitsune sage in history. He turned to look at the small summon with an icy stare. They may have beaten Gaara, but they've never faced me before. I'll kill the bastards, snarled the blonde before he was reversed summoned back to Suna. Flashback: Suna, 8 p.m. 4 hours earlier. Deidre Sasori, my man, let's show these people the beauty of our art. Yet. Two figures clad in black cloaks with red clouds, wearing straw hats, covered as they looked across the expansive desert ahead, finally seeing relief from the form of village gates, the village of Suna. Sasori, quiet Deidre, let's hurry, we don't want to keep Leader Sama waiting, or the Kazekage for that matter. Besides, your explosions aren't art now, puppets last long after I'm gone. Deidre Sasori, my man, you have no appreciation at all for true art. True art is fleeting and transient, it's there 1 second and gone, the next art is a bang. Yet. The two figures argued for some time before finally agreeing to disagree, as the blonde one with weird mouth-like appendages on his hands created a giant CLA on top. Don't wait up, Sasori, my man, this might take a while. I have to make sure they truly appreciate my art. Yet with that he flew off towards the Kazekage tower 10 minutes earlier. Gaara is sitting at his desk when he senses two large chakra signatures coming towards the village, at which point he immediately recognizes it must be the Akate Shadow clone Ajutsu he learned from Naruto, and orders it to write something in a piece of paper and stamp it with his official seal while he prepares for bat. Roof of building, present time. So it seems the element of surprise is lost. Yeah, the blonde standing atop the odd clay bird says to the red-haired man standing on the roof below. The Kazekage, seeing the cloak, instantly had his suspicions confirmed, and after hearing him speak and seeing the bird, he instantly knew he was fighting Deidre. His ANBU lead by Naruto had collected on the criminal group. This also meant Sasori was somewhere around here as well. Knowing this, he created a platform himself into the air. You're in a desert, that bird is sorely out of place, not to mention Naruto had an idea that I loved. I saturated all the chakra in the village outside with my chakra, giving me a sensor net. I knew you were here the second you got in range. I also know who you are, Deidre the Mad Bomber, if you're Sasori. Sorry Kazekage, my man, but you only get to fight me. Our intel says I should be more than enough. Sasori should be out there to keep anyone from interfering. Yeah, you get to see my art at least, and it's such a bang. At that last part, explosions rang out from the village walls as the explosive spiders he sent out before tower hit their targets at the guard towers. You shouldn't have done that. This village is my home and I won't let you hurt my people. With that, Gaara merely picked up his hand and sand shot from his and flew at the bird, obscuring Deidre's view long enough for Gaara to go through hand seals wind style. Sandstorm, basing the idea off of the hidden mist Jew, was covered with sand and visibility was poor. You can hide from my art, said Deidre before sending out a horde of small clay birds and insects to search the entire area for the Kazekage. Gaara, sensing the explosives, went through seals again wind style. Sandstorm bullet, he pulled all the sand out of the storm and formed it into bullets and Deidre then flashed through the signs again now that he could see the bombs wind style. Great breakthrough, and using some of his Baijuyu's chakra to enha a deep breath of air and then blew out hurricane force winds, lifting the explosives into the air. I guess I'll have to pull out all the stops then. Magnet release. Activates a seal on his left arm, releasing tons of iron sand. The sand forms around the explosives and Deidre himself, trapping him in an iron coffin with this EXP. Several weapons materialized out of the extra iron and started stabbing through the coffin. The coffin opened and what looked to be like Deidre fell on the ground dead, or so they thought, till he exploded. Nice try Kazekage, but I substituted with the X. Last second, said Deidre from behind him. At this, Gaara turned and started engaging in a very one-sided taijutsu match, all the spars with Naruto paying off. Gat. Barely receiving even one hit though. With Deidre's explosion fist style, it was a one hell of a hit. Panting after 15 minutes, they broke apart thanks to Gaara's skill and his sand armor. He was unharmed, just tired, while Deidre was bleeding, covered in cuts. You one chance to leave this village and never come back. If you don't, I'll kill you where you stand, said a tired but extremely determined Kage. How about no? Yeah, besides that iron sand technique clearly took quite a bit out of you, not possessing magnet release via bloodline, and you look quite tired. We're fighting. My partner did this. Deidre pointed behind him where the village was flooded with hundreds of puppets and clay bombs. When you used your iron S for it, so I found Sasori after substituting and we decided to do this. He used his secret puppet jutsu, releasing all 100 puppets while you made as many clay. That short time now your village is covered in them, and I wonder what you'll do to protect your home yet. A sadistic smirk stretched across Deidre's face, was widened in horror. Then Gaara started flashing through a long string of hand signs and iron sand started enveloping each individual building in the city, protecting. But it was a slow process. Nice trick, but can you cover all the buildings before I do this, Katsu? With that, the explosions started to rain down upon the village. Started launching all their weapons, and Gaara started pumping more chakra into his jutsu to make it expand faster. The dust settled to see an entire village covered in iron sand and not a single scratch. Gaara released the jutsu, the iron fell to the ground. The village was unharmed. Started pulling the iron sand back into the seal as he knew he couldn't use it any longer with his chakra levels. Panting and exhausted, he leers at the two Akatsu. Using innocents as hostages to achieve your goals, you truly are monsters. As you know, I'm almost out of chakra, but I still have enough to kill you if I'm not with you. Gaara wipes sweat off his brow and shakily stands, going through signs again, wind style. Ultimate sand tsunami. A wall of sand erupts from the G. Opponents outside the village. Wind style, sand coffin, said Gaara, and he started piling sand on the two Akatsuki members, pumping his chakra into it. Not ca. Dies, knowing Shukaku would diapers if he died, and by then Naruto, his all but brother, would be there to stop him. He didn't care. This was his home and he woe. Before he could finish, he ran out of chakra, underestimating the drain from his previous attacks, and fell to the ground unconscious. Cloning from the sand, well, that was anticlimactic yet. Sasori climbed out. Yes, it was. Now let's hurry up and get him back. I hate waiting. The pair walked to Kage only to see two figures land in front of him. The short figure of an older lady knelt beside Gaara. He's still alive, if barely. We need to end this quickly, Kanker, said the old lady before turning. Sasori, I did for you to use it against innocents. I've truly failed you and my village. Allow me to make amends, she said before unsealing her puppets and going to fight. You stand a chance, Granny. You're clearly growing delusional in your old age. With that jab, the grandmother and grandson did battle next to them. Gaara's Bree. Deidre. Looks like my brother did a number on you, said Kanker with a smirk. Doesn't matter, he fell to the beauty of my art, and you will too. 30 minutes later, Cho, the older lady battling Sasori, fell dead, killed by her own grandson, while Kanker lay beaten and bleeding on the sand, crawling to the U. His brother trying to will himself to protect him. He made it 3/4 of the way there before catching a foot to the face and blacking out, while the two Akatsuki Gaara to extract his Baijiu.